anything can look amazing if you give it away for free.
Yeah,
If you just pump money at it and make it too good to be true,
it is.
people are gonna get excited, and it is, and, like, I work in influencer marketing, and so I know that, you know, money can steer the conversation, it can dictate content, it can dictate how we influence others, and like you said, venture capital wields a lot of power in order to make something
Mhm.
popular, and if that thing is breaking regulations or harming the public health, we got a big problem here with how we're approaching entrepreneurship and new ventures. It's really scary when it gets into that area.
Which is a great transition, Henry, to capital being pummeled into a company that really the main innovation is how to skirt regulation. Let's talk about the gig economy.
Yes. Let's
Let's
do it.
do it. So, Uber turned 15 this year. Good for Uber. And it ushered in this new era. It's the pinnacle of this new era of the economy that people have called the gig economy, which is this promise that people, because of these apps, will have more freedom and flexibility over when and how they work. They'll be able to move across these platforms to become entrepreneurs, right? This is the same era as Uber is Airbnb, Etsy, Fiverr, Upwork, all of these kind of gig economy platforms. But in reality, a lot of them seem to just have found a really good way of having employees that you don't have to pay benefits or minimum wage to.
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
there's an amazing video that I watched from a great channel that I like called More Perfect Union. You can check them out. I'll leave the link in the description. But they did a great video about how Uber and Lyft are paying drivers different amounts for the same fare, which is wage discrimination. That's illegal. But for Uber, it is not illegal because the drivers are not actually employed by Uber. They are listed as independent contractors, essentially running their own businesses that they provide services to Uber, which is their car and driving. And Uber and Lyft can get away with this kind of practice and completely skirt the regulation that has tried to protect employees for hundreds of years, or at least 100 years. What do you think about this example as like a what is the great innovation of startups? Is it just skirting regulation?
We talk about the gig economy, and my personal outlook on it is this was an inevitable direction that the internet
Yep.
created. Maybe because of human nature or whatever, but obviously the accessibility that the internet provides of being able to sell services, ride sharing, or design services on the internet
Mhm.
is amazing, but it's unfocused. So you need a way of being able to search this and review it and decide what's the best decision for customers, but also sellers. And so the gig economy, I think, was just a natural progression. But it's not truthful when you say we're decentralizing this industry, when really you're centralizing the power and the authority. And like you said, you're now able to consolidate labor in a way where they don't have rights because they're not actually
Yeah.
employees, and they definitely don't have the authority because they're small fish in a huge pond. And it's unfortunate to say, but if you aren't an employee and you're just an entrepreneur, you're actually a product.
Mhm.
When you're at a company like one of these, you're not actually running your own business because you don't control enough of the variables. You're just a service provider. So it it seems like a natural progression. I understand how the demand arose, but clearly this is another example of skirting
Mhm.
regulation and concentrating value and power, but under the guise of promoting entrepreneurship and personal freedom. I don't like it. Leaves
Exactly.
a bad taste in
This
my
is
mouth.
the whole thing of we're creating more problems than we might be solving. Like before Uber, we had taxis, right? Like the inconvenience of taxis was that it wasn't in an app. Um, and that you didn't know upfront how much it was going to cost. Two problems that like I think were right. The where it seems to have gone wrong is the idea that okay, rather than trying to sell our software to the taxi companies, right? We're going to try to subvert that, enable this whole new fleet of drivers, and position ourselves as we are just a platform, right? We are not actually employing people to drive because that would be expensive and venture capitalists do not want to see that.